Okay, I'm here with The Sims, so let's do this. Yes, this is a VTuber format that I decided to do a little VTubing and try it out for the very first time. So you'll see me on this, basically if you're looking at the stream to the left, game to the right. It may be different depending on how you're looking at it. I just decided to try this out. It might be a little loud, but let me turn that down the stream's running at a lower frame rate, however. That's essentially what's happening. That I'm running this at a slightly lower frame rate, 10 frames per second, than 30 frames per second.
Stress malo tan apa.
Here we are. So now I'm in VTuber form. I thought I'd test this out.
Dim lao. Ken Rob's near now here? It's a couple of yaku of that GT much. Well, maybe no.
I have Bob and Betty sitting here on the couch talking.
Tostalo, air.
In fact, there's a bit of a fact. If you play the families in The Sims 1 for up to 100 sim days or more in game, you'll be greeted with a little did you know pop up box that pops up as a question mark icon on the top right of the screen. It pops up in the square icon. When you click on it, it'll expand out enough to tell you a fact about the game per sim day for up to many facts it has. This one says, did you know? Jamie Becker, artist. Jamie produced a large portion of the object graphics. Some of her work includes the aquarium and the animated phones. She also produced the infamous Sim Safari zebra couch that would, despite that what Will may claim is not the zebra from the Sim Safari, Will Wright is referring to. Actually, no Sim creatures were injured or hurt while making the Sim. No Sim creatures were hurt or injured or hurt while making Sims. Fun fact: though spelled differently, Jamie and Jamie sound alike. This caused Patrick who had to work on both of them called them programmer Jamie and Graphic Jamie. It can be spelled Jamie or Jami, with or without an E at the end. That's a fact. The number of sim days your family has to live in is to be at least 100 or more to get those random pop up on the screen. That's how you trigger it by that.
Voilà. Comment l'avsnat? Huh?
There. Be right back. Here I am. I'm back. Mm.
Grow.
There. My shit app's gotta update itself. There, it updated. Okay, let me test something. Mm. OBS decided to hang. Oh, there. So continuing with this. Oh,
Phew. Phew. Cool bloom by the mouth. Hey, Tom, make a long moment now. Ratoon, Calantina? Ow! Put the banana, have it. What? Is that kind of one? Is it what was in it? Nabu, Nubu, Nabu, cheap.
oh, here's another one. It says here that Mike Lawson, the product analyst. Mike is a man of all trades. He worked on testing, tuning, and maintained the test neighborhoods, manned the SimWatch webcam, and more numerous tasks that can be named. Mike claims he is the survivor of the Streets of SimCity testing process. He is also the youngest member of the team. Fun fact, this band performed the music in the Electronic Arts game Motor Racer 2.
Daar is de wild van. You know, food in I'm laying can. Oh, Shibata, is it what I know what it's rest and down. Oh, dim low. Dim low. Ooh.
Plado. Et tu moi tous? C'est... It's nerving.
Fine. Oh.
Laura, Kalam.
Whoosh, dag, dag.
Oh, that broke down all of a sudden. Oh. Oops.
Bedenum. Grow.
Melissa Bachman Wood, assistant producer. Melissa was instrumental in specifying how the objects in the game would look and leading the massive testing effort, often committing 100 plus miles a day between Maxis and EA. Melissa proudly displays with sign reading, "I wasn't hired for my demeanor," above her desk. Fun fact, every object in the game was a group effort requiring an object designer, an object programmer, an animation artist, an object artist, a writer, a sound designer, and sound programming, oh, and lots of testers. A lot of people took into making the objects which you see in The Sims worthwhile.
Yoo-hoo.
She's hungry.
You know, yeah, who did I mean, Cardio?
Oh, fanna twarasta. Ikubada. Mm-hmm.
Right.
This girl is friendship. And then move it that's not. And you stop again, Johanna.
Let's name it that.
Attack.
I'll be right back. Here we go. Another fact pops up. This time it's Tim Laterno. In fact, fun fact, Tim Laterno did The Sims 2 and The Sims 1. He was on the development team of it. Tim Laterno, associate producer, and Chris Baena, assistant producer. Tim and Chris came on board to handle the localization of The Sims into many languages and to help with the development and testing of our free Sim show and Home Master tools. Both started in the testing and customer support at EA. Chris is still the only Maxis employee with a handlebar mustache. Fun fact, though the catalog text is written by Sean and the other text by Roxy, Tim had to adjust the language of the text as well as maintain the text database for the entire game. This help system you're reading now was added just 2 weeks before the deadline for localization and contains almost a third of the text in the game. Now, maybe Tim will be able to go home at night. Maybe. There you go. Fun fact. This is actually just a basic simulation playthrough. There's no role playing for this. Obviously, not a whole lot of role playing. It's just a basic daily life of a sim household. I have a video game called The Sims Medieval. The Sims Medieval is an RPG game based on The Sims 3. That's more role playing than just what I'm doing here. What I'm doing here is just showing the daily life of Bob and Betty Newbie, the two Sims that ship with the Sims 1 as a tutorial house. This is a lot different because I modified the house after I got this game earlier in 2025 when it released earlier, right around February 2025, for the 25th anniversary edition, or 20th anniversary, I should say. But this is mainly just a role-playing playthrough of Betty and Bob, two housemates that live with each other. They're not married, but their central thing is that they live through life. Bob has a job, but Betty lost her job after she skipped work too many times in a row. After that, that's essentially what that is. So take note that Betty lost her job after she missed carpool too many times. Bob kept his job no matter what. Now, in The Sims 1, they do have that. I'll show you. I'll zoom in and give you a little bit of a look. I'll click on them. Okay, it's difficult to identify in The Sims 1, but they have Bob and Betty Newbie. I'll show you. This is it. There's the Newbie family right there. So if you look right up there where I'm hovering over, that's them. They're in that tutorial house that you get when you first play The Sims 1. That's them. So that's essentially what it is. Before I continue, I should say, they're basically siblings, I believe. In Sims 1, there's no family tree, I'm afraid. Sims 1 doesn't have a family tree unlike later Sims games do. They're just mainly more or less of a couple than they are a sibling, to put it. They're essentially a couple because they're in love with each other, but The Sims 1 does not allow marriage, it allows romance, as you can see directly down. There's like a little heart icon at the bottom half of the screen. It's harder to see right down there where I'm circling at. But obviously, the game doesn't really give you much of an explanation in this version of the game. Take note of that, though. It just simply says here that Betty is new to the neighborhood. She is just getting familiar with her new environment. Can you help her learn how to interact with her in her new home? This is the exact same thing or this is different with Bob. Bob is new to the neighborhood. He needs some help getting familiar with his new environment. Can you help him get through to this tutorial? It's essentially a tutorial how you play The Sims. I'll show you. To reset the tutorial, you click this button. It says here, once the tutorial has been played, in order to play it again, it must be reset. This button is used for that purpose. However, any modifications to the house and Sims living there will be lost. In addition, if another family has been moved into the house, they will be evicted. So that reset tutorial house will erase changes when you click it. Be careful of that button. That'll erase tutorial. It'll erase the house and reset it back to tutorial state. Knowing that. This is The Sims Legacy, though. There is some noticeable differences. One, this game is a scaled up version of Sims 1 on PC because EA took The Sims 1 and updated it. They used the Sims Legacy team to handle this, so they took Sims 1, backported it to run on modern computers. They tweaked it to where it runs on the Vulkan API, which is an application programming interface known as Vulkan. It needs a Vulkan it uses the Vulkan rendering for it. So you need a Vulkan enabled GPU, whether it be AMD Ryzen or AMD Threadripper with the iGPU or AMD external GPU or an NVIDIA GPU or an Intel Arc GPU. So Intel Arc, NVIDIA GeForce RTX or any above, like the newer NVIDIA GeForce cards, the newer AMD processors with built-in GPUs into them, or the Intel Arc graphics can run the game just fine because it's looking for Vulkan, it's looking for Vulkan ability on the GPU to whether this game can run or not. This game will not work on computers that do not have Vulkan GPU enabled computers. But what I mean is, you got to have a computer with a GPU graphics card, whether it be a dedicated one or an iGPU to run the game with. If you try to run it on a computer that does not have Vulkan, it'll error out with an error message saying cannot initialize Vulkan render. That's what it'll do. It does a Vulkan startup check. This game will run on the Steam Deck. It'll run on Linux as well. I've tested on Linux and it runs just fine on my laptop as well. The Sims 2 Legacy also runs just fine on Linux 2 through it. I tested that and it runs just fine. Too. Simple. So this would be Steam Deck compatible because it has Vulkan, and since Linux also has Vulkan support with the latest GPU drivers, you could run this on a Linux box just fine with no configuration needed. The Sims 3 is completely different of that. Although I wish EA could have switched this game's rendering engine to DirectX or Vulkan, or from not from Vulkan, but switch it to OpenGL rendering plus DirectX as an option switch, but they chose to stick with Vulkan for modern computers instead. They chose to do that. You also have options to adjust the window mode right here. It says windowed mode right here. And this resolution in the monitor where it's running on, down here in the legacy remake of it. I call it a remake, quote unquote, because it's the original game just tweaked with few minor adjustments and upscaled to run on modern computers. The original game won't run on modern machines due to DRM issues.
Huh.
Bob and Betty both lost their jobs, actually. They both did. After missing carpool too much. But actually, I just chose to let them be jobless because they get to focus on their needs, which are hunger, comfort, hygiene, bladder, room, social, fun, and energy. The Sims has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 needs. 8 of them. In The Sims 1. The Sims 2 is the same way, but however, The Sims 3 reduces it down to 6 of them. I'll show you the difference in the two games though. But this is Sims 1 right here. It has the word paused in the red Comic Sans font up here saying paused at the top. Sims 2 and 3 omit that giant text that says paused up here. It omits that in the later games. There are many differences in the Sims series from Sims 1 to 4. There are many differences, too many of them to count and too many of them to list because I could be here all night and all stream explaining the differences back to back to back. One difference is too many of them. Some of the differences are visual, some are gameplay and other things like that. The Sims 1 only had expansion packs from The Sims Living Large all the way to The Sims Making Magic. It basically had at least expansions for Sims 1, but Sims 2 had stuff in expansion packs. Sims 3 has had stuff in expansion packs. Sims 4 has had stuff packs, expansion packs, game kits, and all of that. The Sims 4 has nearly over $1,300 worth of DLC. You would have to pay nearly $1,300 to get all of them. Like not the entire price, but each expansion pack is like 40 something dollars. You have to spend at least $1,300 or more to get all the Sims 4 DLC all at the same time. Like spend at least bare minimum of however you want to spend to get the Sims 4 DLC, like $40 on one or upwards of that for multiple packs. But you'll be eating through your wallet by giving up to $1,300 to get the Sims 4 DLC. You'd be burning a giant hole in your wallet buying all the expansions for it. My advice to the Sims Studio and EA is why can't they consolidate the Sims 4 packs down into like one or two of them, like consolidate them down into 2 expansions plus a stuff pack, or 1 expansion, stuff pack, stuff like that. They should consolidate that because it's too many of them. That's why I stopped playing Sims 4, because there's so many expansions and DLCs that you just have to buy them one after another, after another, after another, after another to get the ultimate Sims 4 experience. Sims 3 and Sims 2 and Sims 1 didn't do this that bad. Because Sims 3 has expansions and stuff packs, Sims 1 has expansion packs only, though. That's just how that is. So back with the game. We're going to go on a vacation in the Sims Vacation.
Is det hvad kampvåling? Is it what was nina?
Here. This is the vacation lot, and they're already in their vacation clothing, so they're on the beach. So we're going to have them check into a hotel. Note that The Sims Legacy added scroll wheel support for the mouse. The original game didn't do this. So let's just get them to have a little bit of fun in the pool.
Yum.
Time to get them to go to sleep. Fact: vacation lots allow your Sims to sleep and be on the vacation lot indefinite, as the vacation lot serves as a home lot directly, but notice that the buy and build mode is disabled while in a vacation lot or community lot. It's disabled right there. So basically, the vacation lots can serve as an indefinite home lot where your sim can stay on vacation indefinite, eat and sleep and stay all they want, except it'll draw money out their simoleon household funds. But in The Sims 2 and 3, the vacation neighborhoods are a lot different than that. And one last thing, if you wanted your Sims to leave the vacation lot in the Sims Vacation, you would have to have your Sim check out before noon. Otherwise, they get charged more simoleons if they choose to extend their stay. In the Sims 2 Bon Voyage expansion pack, Sims can pack their bags and go on a vacation. But note that on the vacation lots in the Sims 2 Bon Voyage, they will only be allowed to stay for up to a certain amount of days or nights. Yes, they're allowed to. Note that if they stay for too long on the vacation lot, they will be kicked out of the vacation lot back to their home lot after the amount of set days and nights that the player books for their Sims to go on vacation to expires. This is only in The Sims 2 Bon Voyage. The Sims 1, you can indefinitely stay on the vacation lot permanently as long as you want. but it will take out money from your Sims household funds on Sims 1. Sims 3, this will not work. On Sims 3 World Adventures, your sim can go to a neighborhood lot. No, the newbies don't really expect a child. Why? Because babies in Sims 1 don't appear very often. You get like a about a 3 out of 10 chances that you'll get an option to adopt a baby, but that's only on your home lot though. This will not work on a vacation lot. It doesn't work here. It doesn't support that. That's from what I've seen after I've seen The Sims 1 and played the first version, played Sims 1 in 2005, but I never got the expansions at all, other than the Sims Deluxe Edition that included one expansion, such as The Sims Living Large. Literally. There is The Sims Living Large that is expansion bundled with The Sims Deluxe Edition. It's bundled with it. The base game by itself, known as The Sims by itself, will have no expansion with it. But you can get The Sims Deluxe Edition off eBay, a used copy of the game, as long as it contains a serial key, and as long as the disc isn't scratched up, you'll be able to play it on a retro computer. Yes, I've done that. I've emulated The Sims 1. I brought a used copy on eBay, two versions of the game, the base game and the deluxe version on eBay used, and I ran them in a virtual machine just to revisit the old Sims 1 game because EA had not released The Sims 1 yet until like February 2025 that the game came out by February. The first game did. The first game launched on February 4th, 2000. Sims 2 did not launch until September 2004. September 2004 is when the game Sims 2 was released in fall 2004. Sims 3 did not launch until summer 2009. By June 2009 is when The Sims 3 was unveiled by then, in summer of 09. Disregard if there's like frame drops on my app on my VTuber. Disregard that. Yes, I'm using a VTuber that has the horns on its head, like an anime style VTuber. My past Twitch streams I've shown my natural face, but I decided to do VTubing to see how it goes. I'm using a VTuber studio software called VTube Studio that tracks my face movements with my webcam. But note that for advanced facial tracking, you would need an NVIDIA GeForce GPU or an you need NVIDIA RTX for facial tracking. So computers that have an NVIDIA RTX GPU in them, an external one, will handle all the facial tracking through the NVIDIA RTX GPU only. It recommends NVIDIA for facial tracking. That's what NVIDIA is primarily suitable for. I'm not sure about AMD and Intel, but NVIDIA RTX GPUs are super heavy duty ones that can handle advanced tasks like facial tracking and other stuff for NVIDIA products. NVIDIA has that. Intel and AMD don't really do a whole lot of too many advanced things. Not from what I've seen. I've only seen it with NVIDIA products. I could be wrong on that, but NVIDIA sure does lead the way in other stuff, advanced software features. Ooh. I gotta make them eat something because they're hungry. They haven't eaten since they got there yet. Mm. Pets can also go on vacation with your Sims and the Sims Vacation as long as you have the correct expansions installed. If you have the Sims Vacation, the Sims Unleashed installed, they can go on vacation with the pets as well. The pets can go on vacation with them if they're in the household. But note that you would need to have the Sims Vacation and Unleashed. For Magic, you have to have the Making Magic expansion pack, and for the Sims to go on to dates like downtown in the game, you have to have the Sims Hot Date. The Sims Living Large introduces a party feature, party like aspect to the game in Living Large. The Sims Superstar introduces Studio Town, where Sims can become celebs. And in fact, Avril Lavigne, Drew Carey, and John Bon Jovi have made cameo appearances in The Sims Sims Superstar. Basically, Drew Carey is a celebrity in real life who's been featured in The Sims Superstar in the early 2000s, and basically the Drew Carey show did a parody of The Sims back in 2000 when the game popularity rose. The Drew Carey show did a little parody of it, literally, after the game popularity began spiking heavily, like began skyrocketing to the top. That broke a world record for the number one world's most best-selling game of all time. That won awards for being a cool game that everyone flocked to stores to buy copy after copy after copy after copy of The Sims. And EA and Will Wright and Maxis all saw that as a cash cow that kept pouring in the money for it. All the way through to The Sims 2. The Sims 2 also shattered a Guinness Book of World Records too for being the best-selling game in 2004 that flew off the store shelves along with many other best-selling games of all time back then that rapidly were flying off the store shelves in droves. That's what got The Sims to where it is today, thanks to The Sims 1 and The Sims 2 for kicking it off. This was inspired by William Wright, or Will Wright, the creator of The Sims. He made it just because he had a house fire, like back in the late 90s, like early 1991, that he experienced a house fire in California, a wildfire disaster that burned the entire neighborhood he lived in down, including his house to the ground. Therefore, he got the idea of The Sims after he had to rebuild his house back up by getting these toiletries, clothing, he's building it back up in steps. That's what led to The Sims being to where it is, based on that concept. I'm going to take you to The Sims 3. I'll show you the differences between Sims 3 and Sims 1. The Sims 2 I've shown before, but I will take you to The Sims 3 as a result. There is going to be some frame dips where the frame may dip up and down between 10 FPS to 3 and 6 frames per second. That's just something I've lowered the frame rate a bit on my VTuber. That way it doesn't cause any issue. But I am the blue anime VTuber character you can see on screen. The EA app's got an update. But instead, I'll show The Sims 3 while I'm at it. That way you can see some overall differences in the games. I've already played The Sims 2 quite a lot. I played it since 2004. Played it very, very heavily, however. The Sims 2 Legacy is a lot different. I'll show you The Sims 3 and what differences it has. The Sims 3 is 3D. I won't be showing too many differences. There's so much that you'll see some differences in it, but note that I'm going to jump between two games. It would take a little bit to install The Sims 2 on Steam, but its EA app's got an update first because the EA app is what I'm running The Sims 3 through since it's on my EA account. The Sims 3 is to update, or not update, I should say, the EA app's got to update itself before I can play The Sims 3, which is annoying, but that's just how it is. You'll see some differences in the games, quite a lot, but The Sims 3 launched in 2009, and it's a game that didn't really need a high performance GPU unlike The Sims 2 did. The Sims 2 needed an NVIDIA GeForce card or an ATI Rage card, like an ATI video card to run properly. It did. Mainly in 2004, you need to have an NVIDIA GeForce or ATI game, or it's not game, I meant to say ATI card that the game looks for, or a supported Intel graphics card that the game could take for Sims 2. One that was decent enough to run the game at 3D. The EA app finished updating, so now I gotta wait for it to load the library where I can launch The Sims 3. The Sims 3 is also on Steam as is. It's an outdated version of The Sims 3 on Steam, but the EA app version is at 1.69. Or patch 1.70 or 1.69. A higher version than the Steam version than it is. The Sims 4 is nice, but The Sims 4, you got to pay a lot of money to get the DLC for it, though. EA is like aware of piracy with The Sims 4. They're already aware of the piracy problem with Sims 4. They're already aware of that. Some person invented the Sims 4 free DLC unlocker, but this backfired on the creator because the dev that developed the Sims 4 DLC unlocker got a lot of backlash and problems and harassment and hate for it. So much so the dev quit because I guess the dev got blasted for doing that by people instead of paying the Sims Studio money for the Sims 4 DLC, as the Sims 4 used to be a not free to play game from 2014 until 2022, but after 2022, EA unlocked the Sims 3, I guess or not Sims 3, Sims 4, I should say in 2023 or 2022, I forget when, but EA made The Sims 4 free to play. Base game itself free to play, but you'd have to have the DLC sold separately. Just the base game can be freely played without no purchase to it. Same for The Sims 4 on Xbox, PSN, PC, it's free to play for the main game, but you'd have to throw money on the DLC if you want it. The DLC I have for The Sims 3 is The Sims 3 Ambitions Generations High-End Loft Stuff, a stuff pack. It gives objects, The Sims 3 Into the Future, The Sims 3 Island Paradise, Late Night Pet Season Showtime, Supernatural University Life, and The Sims 3 WA, known as World Adventures. Those are the expansions I have for it. The Sims 4, I like it more as well because it's got LGBTQIA plus stuff in The Sims 4, but not so much in The Sims 3, though. The Sims 3 allows same sex romances and same sex marriage, it does. Sims these are all the worlds I have. I've got Bridgeport, Appaloosa Plains, Adventureland. I've got Riverview, which is free to download as long as you registered The Sims 3. Pirated copies of the game won't allow you to download any of the free content or towns. Well, the free towns and free world, or the free town, I should say. Riverview is the only town that you can download free as long as you registered your Sims 3 through EA. If the game, since I'll give you a fact. The Sims 3 was actually pirated back in summer 2009. Like, leaked copies of the game hit the internet before Street Date in June of 2009, sometime in June, and people that got the game through leaked versions of it were unable to download the free Riverview town because it was an unauthorized leaked copy. Only the registered copies could, as a bit of an anti-piracy. This game got an update in February 2025, a little bitty minor update on the EA app version to help improve its compatibility on Intel GPUs and processors, so to speak. I guess like the Intel processors, the newer ones could not run The Sims 3 efficiently, so EA gave it a patch to help fix it. They did give it a little bitty patch, a little patch on The Sims 3 as a result of that. So as a result of the 25th anniversary of The Sims 3 got an unintended update alongside it. The Steam version did not. The Steam version's at 1.6 or 1.70. Or actually, no, 1.67, I should say. It's at an older version. The reason why this is the case is because EA was forced to sell their PC games on Steam with no DRM other than the Steam DRM because EA got a lawsuit slapped at them a long time ago in 2008 with Spore. Okay. Spore actually had a bit of a problem where they got sued. Basically, EA snuck Securom DRM, a terrible DRM, in the Sim, not in this, or they snuck it in the Sims too, but the Sims had Securom in Sims 2 only, but later EA titles had Securom, including Spore, into them. Spore is a creature simulation game that was launched by EA Axis in 2009, or 2008, I should say. Correction, 2008. Maxis and EA were two companies, but Maxis was created by Jeff Braun and Will Wright in the late 90s. EA purchased Maxis and merged in with them. Maxis is actually 6 a.m. spelled backwards, but however, Maxis was shut down by EA later on and revived. But note that Maxis itself published The Sims and stuff like in SimCity titles. They did. That's essentially what it is. Let me just turn the game audio back up a bit. But here it is. Let me turn the game audio up so you can hear it better. I had to turn it down a bit to tell you some facts about the Sims titles themselves. Here's some objects. If you look closely, I'll show you. This is Bone Hilda. Bone Hilda made an appearance from The Sims Making Magic. This is her. This is the skeleton character, NPC character that was taken from The Sims Making Magic and backported into The Sims 3 Supernatural. Bone Hilda is a skeleton character that has done housemaid tasks. Bonehilda is unplayable, however. Another character that's added in the later Sims expansion is known in Sims 3 is known as a Simbot. This is a Simbot. I'll explain. This is the lesson screen, and you can see the different things you can scroll to learn more. In one of the Sims expansion packs of The Sims 3, you can have servos and Simbots. Simbots are robots that are Sim-ish. Obviously, they have different needs. Simbots cannot be dirty. They stay lubricated naturally and very clean. They do eat scrap over normal food. They do use the toilet for their bladder. Charge is them sleeping or taking power from appliances, or power from caffeine, or power from appliances, something like that. I should say power from caffeine or sleep. They can also smash objects to get scrap out of them. Stuff like that. But let me tell you what expansion they come from. It's the Sims 3 Simbot. The Simbot is from The Sims 3. The Sims 3 Ambitions gives you the ability to have a Simbot. That's what it is. So you can have a Simbot from the Sims 3 Ambitions expansion pack. It's similar to Open for Business, the Sims 3 Ambitions is. It's similar to that. This is Holden Wozni and Gwen. Originally that was Holden Glover was his last name, but after I got him married to Gwen, the last name of Holden changed. No, Gwen Glover and Holden Wozni. No, Holden. I forget what Holden's last name was because obviously I got them married, and when you marry two Sims in The Sims 2 or Sims 3, their last name of the married Sim will switch, the one that they're marrying to, replacing the old one. I'll show you what I'm talking about. The Sims 3 is an interesting game. Its online features have a downloads dashboard where you can download your purchased Sims 3 store content with points. Sims 3 points is a currency in the Sims 3 for their online store where you can buy objects with Sim points. Yes, you can. You have to use real money to buy Sim points to add to your Sims 3 online account. You have to do that. You could get Sims 3 points, like Sim points from registering the Sims 3 expansions to your online Sims 3 account, your online EA account. You would get free Sim points by registering the Sims 3 game and expansions to it. That's how I got it. But I'll show you as soon as the game saves. There are mods and enhancements to improve the gameplay of The Sims 3, like mods, packages for the game to give mods and stuff. But some mods can crash the game or cause undesirable consequences if not managed correctly, and can cause a whole host of issues in the game. If we look in the family bin, here's the Glover family. Gwen and Holden are roommates. Obviously, they are. There's the Oasis landing of the Sims 3 Into the Future, Sims University. The three worlds are from the Sims 3 World Adventures, Champs Les Sims, France, Shang Simla, China, and then Al Simhara, Egypt, from the Sims 3 World Adventures up here, Sims 3 University here, Sims 3 Into the Future here, the sub-neighborhood worlds that can be visited. In The Sims 3, you can change families at any time, by going to the Edit Town option on the option menu in the game and clicking on Edit Town. Then you save your game whether you want to save or not. Then you can select Change Household in the UI on the Edit Town screen. The Sims 3 lets you change households without having to go back to the main neighborhood, but there is loading time in between changing houses and lots or houses and neighborhoods in The Sims 2. There's loading screens in between those. The game is saving, so this will take a moment. There, it's back. There's many differences. In Sims 3, you have a neighborhood view. You can see your entire neighborhood from this view without having to go back to the main neighborhood in previous versions of the game. There is a festival called SimFest right there. That gold starburst icon is SimFest. That's gold starburst right there is the time portal. A Central Park Summer Festival icon will appear with additional Sims 2 or Sims 3 packs to Sims 3 seasons. So anytime you want to check out the neighborhood, you can click on the button that says zoom out right here, the view neighborhood button right there, or you can click on map view at any time. Either one of the two, map view there, or the button that'll appear briefly when you zoom out far enough right here. Click on this. This will allow you to go to the map view directly from there. Clicking here will resume play again in The Sims 2 and 3. But if you have The Sims 2 and 3 on a touchscreen computer, you could tap to click on the screen like a DS stylus, but the game is more optimized for a mouse than it is a touchscreen for The Sims on PC. But you could tap to click on the screen to interact with objects similar to that, but you won't be able to scroll around too much unless if you double right click through a tap, like a double tap to right click on a touch screen and to click and drag. You tap once and hold your finger on the touch screen to tap and drag. Through a tap to hold, and then you drag by holding your finger on the touch screen and let go to stop. So it'd be very difficult to play The Sims on touchscreen computers because the controls are designed mainly for mouse and keyboard. But mainly you'll be playing with the mouse predominantly, as The Sims is designed to be mouse control. There are some keyboard shortcuts too, but mostly for object interaction and sim interaction, you'll be using the mouse. The Sims 3 actually has 6 needs: hunger, hygiene, bladder, energy, social. Well, I should say hunger, bladder, energy, social, hygiene, and fun. It has 6 needs instead of the usual 8 of them. Basically, the room motive, the motive known as room, is actually absent. So the room motive is removed in The Sims 3. Sims 4 also removes that. But Sims 2 and Sims 1 have the mood or have the room motive, but later Sims games omit the room motive altogether. Sims 3 uses moodlets. Moodlets are squares that appear in the lower half center of the screen on your Sim UI down here, called moodlets. Green moodlets are good. Yellow is when there's red moodlet. So green moodlets here, red appears in this little space. Hi. Hi, Creative Simmer 94. Hi. Welcome to me playing The Sims 3. I have at least all 4 Sims games from the first game to the last, but I play mostly Sims 1, 2, and 3. I do. The Sims 4, I rarely even play that game because the DLC for it is so wide, you'd be throwing away more than $1,300 worth of money on buying all the DLC at one go, which is a lot. I mean, each DLC, like the expansions are like $40 for The Sims 4. The game packs and stuff kits are lower costs, but the laughing part is you'd be throwing away nearly $1,500 worth of money to buy all the DLC and future DLC that gets with it. You'd be spending upwards of over $900 or more to get every single Sims 4 DLC there is. I wish EA could have lowered the price of the Sims 4 DLC to just $10 a pop or $5 a pop, and they'll make more sales that way. If it's being like $2 to $3 a pop for the Sims 4 DLC, but having the Sims 4 expansion packs at $40 a pop slows the sales down. But lowering the price of the expansions will automatically cause it to like be selling quickly out. Stuff like that. People did suspect that Sims was going to have a sequel called Sims 5, but EA put their foot down and said, nope, there's no Sims 5. Actually, the Sims studio said there will be no Sims 5 in the works. The Price is Right losing horn is that when EA was announced it was going to be sold to a Saudi Arabia private equity firm in Saudi Arabia, this caused quite an uproar in the Sims community. In the Sims world, it had a lot of players upset with the buyout of EA to a private equity firm in Saudi Arabia. It also caused so many Simmers to leave the Sims 4 Creators Program due to this. So it even upsetted the Sims Studio team and the Sims 4 players. They all got upset with that announcement. I would say to myself that knowing that to not be controversial, but The Sims has LGBTQIA stuff in it, and countries that are opposed to LGBTQ stuff, there's where it becomes a problem because countries like Russia and the Middle East do not tolerate LGBTQ. They don't tolerate it in the Middle East, nor in Russia. Therefore, the game has to be modified in those countries to comply with censorship there. Otherwise, it can't be sold if it's got a lot of LGBTQIA stuff in it. The Sims 4 was no stranger to controversy out in Russia. Simply as that. I like Sims 3 and Sims 2 and Sims 1. I like it because it's less complicated than The Sims 4. Sims 4 did get some new quality of life updates. You can re-download it on the EA app and play it again, but note that the Sims Medieval, that Sims 3 spin-off version of it is old. It's outdated, never got an update patch too much other than to disable the launcher. The Sims Medieval had a working launcher on Origin at first, but EA published a patch that overwrites the launcher so you can get straight into the game without the launcher being open. I discovered that a long time ago when I brought The Sims Medieval on Origin. It had a launcher, but the launcher was so old that EA disabled the launcher through a patch where the game just directly launches into it without needing that annoying launcher to come up before you can play The Sims Medieval. Sims 3 does still rely on its launcher to run, but players have found workarounds to disable the Sims 3 launcher that we can get straight into the game on a Linux system, but on Windows, this is not the case. This is due to because the fact that The Sims never supported Linux ever at first. There is one little bonus. Sims 1 actually did have Linux support a long time ago in early 2000 at one point. It did. It's called Mandriva Linux Gaming or Mandrake Gaming. Mandrake Gaming was a Linux distribution version that had gaming support, but it also had support for running The Sims 1, literally. I'll have to type in The Sims 1 on Linux to give you an insight. The Sims Legacy runs on Linux just fine, but obviously The Sims 1 didn't really run on Linux at all because it was a Windows only game. Let's see. Oh, it's called Mandrake Gaming Edition. Okay, on freeso.org, The Sims was supported on a thing called Mandrake Gaming Edition, meaning Mandrake Linux was a distribution in the late 2000 that was Linux based and it had support for gaming known as The Sims 1. Mandrake Linux Gaming Edition was originally known as The Sims for Linux. I'll show you what it looks like, a screenshot of it. Let me change window to what you can so you can see what I'm talking about. Okay, I want to have that. Here, I'll switch back to the game, but let me show you for a moment. If you can barely see it, but this is what it looks like, even though the window is so zoomed out. But this is what I was talking about. I'll show you the full image. This is The Sims 1 that was ported to Linux in the early 2000s. Let me just zoom in the image a bit. It's called Trans Gaming Technologies. But this is The Sims 1 running on Mandrake Linux Standard Edition 8.1. Oh shit. Sorry for my language. I thought I closed OBS. Oops. But turns out I didn't. I minimized it. It says run popular Windows games seamlessly on Linux with Transgaming portability technology. So Transgaming ported to Mandrake Linux. Oh, Transgaming tried to port Sims 1 to it. Tried to. That's just that one. It says here Mandrake Linux Gaming Edition was a short-lived special edition of Mandrake Linux that included a modified version of The Sims along with a specialized version of Wine X Sedega to run it. Support for The Sims on Wine has been consistent at best at garbage at worst, so this was an interesting phenomenon. So there's a spin-off. Originally, for this to work, Mandriva Linux Gaming Edition, you could get the product in late 2000, try to run Sims 1 on it in 2000, but this didn't work. You would need some series of files. You would need the bin file, the Q file, the table of contents file. So you would need at least the Mandrake Linux Gaming Edition files, such as the bin, Q, table of contents, or talk file. You would need the Sims for Linux bin, Q, talk file to run it, and a VM, or try to put it together in ISO image and run it on an actual computer. Mandrake Linux was a Mandriva clone that was pretty good, but I never heard of Linux until later, until like 2009, known as Mandriva Linux. But Mandrake is just a Linux distribution before it became Mandriva. Okay, I'm looking to get images I can show of the back of the box. When it loads, it's downloading the image in slowly. So it's a large image, so it's downloading it. Here. It's currently loading the image in the browser at the moment, but here you go. basically, the image is being reloaded in packet form through archive.org servers through the internet back to my computer, and so it results in the image slowly loading for large images that take a little bit because it's a large image. Basically, Mandrake Linux Gaming Edition is essentially using trans gaming technologies, which is a portability that brings gaming of The Sims to it. Let me show you what it looks like. There it is. Let me just expand the image a little larger. Let me just resize my VTuber a bit. I'm covering part of the screen with my VTuber model. Let me just drag the window out of the way. Let me just resize myself so you can see it better, but this is it. This is what I was talking about. You could run games like StarCraft, Baldur's Gate, Half-Life, Counter-Strike, and many others. So it's Mandrake Soft was the company behind Mandrake Linux. It ships with GNU Cache KPilot, StarOffice 5.2 or KOffice 1.1. It ships with KDE 2.2.1, GNOME 1.4.1, X Free 86, 4.1, and kernel 2.4.8. It basically had a free 30-day trial of Mandrake Expert email installation support and free 30 days Mandrake online subscription back then. Back in the early days when Mandrake Soft used to publish this version. But this one was a short-lived version of the game, or the short-lived edition, the special edition, a short-lived version of Mandrake Linux. It never really made it through fruition. It was back in 2001. The publication date was 2001 when this was published. In '01. I was a kid in 2000 when The Sims 2. Sorry. I was a kid in 2000 when The Sims 1 launched in 2000, on February 4th of 2000, but I was a kid in the Sims 2 era in 2004 when Sims 2 launched in fall 2004. The image is still loading slowly in on the browser, of course, from archive.org. Obviously, there's little need for this because the Sims Legacy runs on Linux correctly now after 2 decades, though. The system requirements, I will show you the system requirements directly where you can see what it looks like. I'll zoom in a bit so you can see it. It's a little too large, but I'll zoom out. You would need a 350 megahertz or faster Intel Celeron Pentium CPU or AMD Duron Athlon back then. You would need 64 megabytes of RAM or 128 megabytes recommended for the RAM. Notice it's megabytes, which is very, very smaller than the RAM in today's computers. In computers today, you could get RAM sizes from 8 gigs all the way up to 32 or how high you can go based on the manufacturer's specifications. But in early 2000, there were computers that ran 64 megs of RAM or 128 megs. You would need disk space of one and a half gigs minimum on the hard disk on the hard drive. You would need 2+ gigabytes of hard disk space recommended. The graphics card you would need is a video card that would support monitor and video card capable of 800 by 600 resolution and 16-bit color. For additional games, you would need a Linux-supported 3D graphics card with 16 megabytes of video RAM is needed. NVIDIA GeForce class GPU is recommended for it. Support 3D graphics for additional games. You would need a sound card supported by Linux OSS Open Sound System or also drivers, Advanced Linux Sound Architecture, also for short. CD-ROM drive, mouse, keyboard, internet connection required to subscribe to Trans Gaming and Mandrake subscription. Not all Windows games are supported. Stuff like that. So essentially, this is a Linux open source distro that required a bare bones low-end computer in early 2000 to run. Literally. So back to the game. Obviously, that is an example of what it used to look like back in the day. Linux that supported The Sims 1 only, though. Later versions of the game didn't do too well on Linux because it used proprietary software that Windows provided that Linux couldn't. Just saying. But here we go. This is my VTuber I decided to introduce into a VTuber I got by buying it on Etsy to introduce to. This. So I'm a VTuber. Let's just try it out. Another Twitch streamer known as Akios Stefling, however, if I pronounce it right, Akios Stefling, formerly known as Akios Alundra, uses a VTuber. RuinArk TTV, known as RuinArk, he uses a VTuber as well. He does. And many other streamers. Tojiko-san is another Twitch streamer I watch. It's also a VTuber, along with countless and many others. Another example is Tiger, Tygre, who is a furry VTuber that streams on Twitch and is partnered, but that's a whole nother rabbit hole I won't go down into. The only thing I will say is that when Tiger was on the front page of Twitch being partnered, half of the internet got on Tiger's case about the VTuber avatar. Tiger is LGBTQIA plus, and I repeat, I fully support LGBTQIA. I support it. I do fully support that. But Tiger got dunked on for being a furry VTuber with a diaper on their avatar, literally, while promoting the front page of Twitch. Tiger got slam dunked by XQC and many others, got completely criticized for it and got dunked on for it. Which I don't see why would people slam dunk Tiger too much, because Tiger hasn't done anything wrong hardly ever, I believe. Just internet decided to go after Tiger for being a furry VTuber on the front page of Twitch with a diaper on the VTuber avatar. It upset a lot of people and caused people to blast Twitch for it. But this also led to Tiger being suspended with at least 12 hours on Twitch, then unsuspended immediately after. I'm saying this because VTubers are nice and all, but I wish VTubers were not slam dunked too much, because there's no need to criticize someone that's doing a VTuber avatar when there's no need to slam on someone for it. Twitch already went after VTubers for showing too much skin back in 2025. They did. They actually went after VTubers to make themselves cover up. As in VTuber, even though I'm a virtual avatar. I'm a boy VTuber. I could be a girl VTuber or a cat. I could be either one of them. But again, that's that. I'll show you the different VTubers I have in the VTuber studio. I can change the different ones. The anger emote is showing unexpectedly, even though it's going by my facial expressions. Uh-oh, the anger one is up there. I don't know how that got there. Disregarded. Got up there. Uh-oh. That anger little anger symbol thing is like part of anime, but disregard. I can be a cat. I'll show you. I can be a kitty cat. Okay, it's gonna look a little bit weird, but here we go. But I'm a cat. Meow. I can be a cat. Any of them. But I'm gonna go back to the default one I had. You can zoom in with the scroll wheel, but this is the cat one. There's different versions of it. The VTuber Studio only gives you access to a select limited number of them, but note that you'll have to pay a DLC to get rid of the watermark in the program, in the VTuber Studio program. But this is it. I'm just zoom out. But this is me in a cat form, like that. I was helping a different Twitch streamer by the name of Slimskate. I was helping her last night with VTuber setup. And so far, so good. This is me in a puppy in a bowl. Right here, me in a bowl. I'll show you the different variations. Here's Hiyori, an anime girl, like a cute looking anime girl. This is her. But this is Hiyori. Obviously, I don't have an NVIDIA RTX GPU to do any advanced facial tracking, however. Does not this I don't have it I don't have that, so I cannot do the advanced tracking of arms and hands. Model 52 is a different model I'll show briefly when it loads. VTube Studio froze. Okay, there it is. Auto setup. Whoops. Okay, whoopsies. I gotta close that. Oops. Oh. Oops. Uh, blank that. Whoopsies. I forgot she's new. Oops. No. I forgot. Oh, I gotta hide that one. Oops. I can't show that one. I gotta show a different one. It's closed. Oops. But let me unshow. Let me show this one. This one's a bunny one. This is the bunny-eared one. Sorry about that little oops. I forgot that one's not fully clothed yet. This is the clothed variant. Oh, clothed anime girl. It's bunny looking. The eyes do react and track my eye movement. There is advanced Tobii eye tracking software, but I don't have that at all installed nor enabled. I don't have the Tobii eye tracking tools, nor the Tobii eye tracking camera. I don't have that. Let me go back to the boy one. Twitch actually did get on to VTubers about showing too much skin. They actually gave them back like a dress code policy that applies to the VTuber as well, which is what Twitch implies. And a lot of people, including the VTuber community, wasn't having any of that. So there's that. Oops. Sorry for the accidental wardrobe malfunction. Me showing the wrong VTuber that's not clothed. Sorry for that. I forgot it had no clothes on, so I can't show that one. Brief whoops. But anyway, I'm gonna go back to where I can scale and zoom in. I put myself differently. Those are my glasses that I forgot to scale accordingly, but here I am with glasses on. I can make it large, small, to change the size. I can also rotate. Oops, I forgot to rotate. Oh, I rotated them wrong. Oh no. I gotta figure out how to make the glasses great. I forgot how to rotate. I can't rotate. I rotated the glasses incorrectly. Oh, let me just resize and rearrange. The glasses I managed to rotate some kind of odd way. I don't know how to get it back. Okay, great. I'm moving my VTuber around, but I meant to get rid of the glasses, and the glasses are stuck. Okay. I'm learning this software, the VTuber Studio, as a response, but it obviously locks and relocks, which is weird. And I don't know how to get rid of the items. Okay, why I'm dragging my VTuber instead of the glasses? Item settings. Oh, I can add items to my VTuber if I want, like glasses or different things. But I will show the blue sky ones. There's the ones that I wanted to show how I can do that. But how do I delete okay, configure loaded items. Okay, select. Oh, by long clicking. Oh, item config. Oh, that's simple. I can click and hold to open up the settings menu by long clicking and holding on there. Oh, I figured it out. But yeah, that. Let me just fix this to where I'm centered correctly. The watermark is a flying character with wings that is the watermark that has to be purchased a watermark DLC to get rid of it with. That's what it is. But let me just briefly blank myself out. Let me just take a look at something. The program will pause for a little bit while it's loading the other model. The one I inadvertently let slip on stream earlier by quickly hit it. Okay, let's see. Hmm. I can select the physics string and limit the movement a bit, but obviously that. Let me go back to my original VTuber. Okay, I'm back to my original anime version. I forgot about TOS and especially the dress code enforcement on VTubers, where the VTubers have to be fully clothed and can't show anything too much skin related, since Twitch got very upset with VTubers doing that and decided to put a dress code on them too. That was the controversy that got out of hand back in 2024, mid 2025. There, let me just resize myself, drag myself down, where I can have the glasses on me and be right there. The glasses will be not pinned, but I need to make it so the glasses are indeed pinned to my character, locked. Okay, weird. The glasses are locked, but I need to figure out how to pin it to the VTuber. So put item in model. Oh, put it in model. Well, that doesn't go as planned. I cannot lock it to my VTuber. I can select where to put it to, but I need to figure out how to get that to happen. Just the shaves is where it needs to go to. Oh, put item in model. We'll put it behind me. We'll clip it behind. I need to turn that off. Mm. Here we go. The glasses will have to just be out of the way for now so I can figure that out. Oops. But back to the game. It's going to be cold tonight where I'm at, down the low 20s. Earlier this afternoon, I was watching the Twitch stream and the power went out for a split second, like for nearly 0.9 seconds. Like last for a mere half a second. Mm.
Oh, Blobby. Blursh. Blursh. Jerksy. Jerks.
Sims will shoot Sims in The Sims 3. They'll do that. In The Sims, they'll get shooed out of a bathroom if they're not welcoming while the other Sim is in there, if their relationship isn't high enough, I should put it. Simbots prefer scrap. Oh no. That's just great. Oh. But I just thought I'd play The Sims 3 for a little bit, and it's already 8:30 p.m. Almost to 2 hour mark. So when it hits 2 hours, I'm going to stop the stream and call it a night. But I will continue this later in the week. Bonehilda cannot be interacted with, however. That's Bonehilda. Okay, thanks for watching. I will see y'all next time.